Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to continue with the reading vocabulary lesson over context clues. Now you had some brand new vocabulary words that you had with the story for this unit. Now the story that you have been reading and now you're answering the questions looking at the vocabulary was called the Mama Miti in your My View Volume 1. Okay, the Wangari. Now, looking at this story, they had some vocabulary words. They had a good 5 of them. Now, I'm going to teach you how when you don't know a word and you have a sentence that they use it in, you have a paragraph that they use it in, you can use something called context clues to help you figure out the meaning of the word. Now, in this case, when you're working with vocabulary, okay, just vocabulary by itself, and you have no idea what this word means, you've never seen it before, you've never heard it before, and maybe you don't even know how to pronounce the word. Now you're going to be using something called context clues, okay? Now it says, they come in many forms. These are clues they purposely put in sentences to help you figure out what the word means. Now, it's done on purpose. Now, they can be given in a synonym, antonym, words within that sentence. They can give it to you using structure clues, comparison, contrast. So, when you're looking at your vocabulary words, they give you ceremonies, tradition, medicine offerings, and the other one was lamenting. You're going to be using context clues to help you figure out the meanings of the words, especially that you do have a vocabulary identification within the pages as well. Now, I have some examples in our anchor chart behind me. Now, we have our context clues, what type it is. So you have the first one, helping words or punctuation, okay? Now, our vocabulary word in this sentence is furious. If you did not know the meaning of furious, try to use clues within that sentence to help you figure out what does furious mean. So when you go and read the sentence, Mary was furious or angry at her brother. Now looking at the whole entire sentence, which would be our context clues? It would be angry. Now, angry helps me describe what furious means, because Mary was furious or angry at her brother. That's what you see there. Helping words using punctuation, using that comparison. Sometimes they're going to give you opposite or the same meaning, which is an antonym or a synonym of the words. Now, sometimes when they give you the antonym of a word, you may mistakenly think that's the meaning of the word. We think it's the same, but they're using an example. The way to figure that one out, you not only do you have to read the sentence, you have to read the paragraph they're using it to really figure out, okay, is this an opposite or is this the same meaning? Let's continue with Mary. Now, Mary's cat looks tame when sleeping, but wild when awake. So in this case, we didn't have to look at an entire paragraph to know that this was actually an opposite. Tame, but wild when awake. Okay, that's when they give you the opposite meaning. Your vocabulary word was tame, but the opposite of that was wild. Now, if they would have said the same thing, the cat looks tame when sleeping, or the cat looks maybe not just wild, but crazy. The cat looks crazy when sleeping, but wild when awake. That's when you're starting to know, okay, something doesn't sound right, then it's not the antonym, it's not the synonym. You have to look for those clues. Sentence before or after. I know this is one I have used a lot with you guys. I always said, read the sentence before it, read the sentence after it, read the sentence they use it, and to really figure out the meaning of that word. Sentence before or after. The people were nomads. And we have talked about nomadic people before, but if you have completely forgotten, you're like, I have no idea what nomads are. Continue reading. Let's see if they give you a clue in the sentence before or after. In this case, they gave us a sentence after. The people were nomads. They moved from place to place. Now, they gave me a full sentence full of context clues. They moved, so that means they're moving somewhere else, but place to place. That means these people continued to move from place to place. Now, sometimes they describe by using an example. They won't tell you the actual meaning of the vocabulary words, but they're going to give you an example that helps you imagine it in your head a little bit more. For example, Mary used the utensil to eat her lunch. Now, in this case, they don't tell us what utensil is. They don't give us antonym or synonym, but all they gave us was that it's something to eat her lunch. So obviously you're like, a utensil, maybe it was a spoon, maybe it was a fork, maybe it was a spork, whatever it was, it's something she uses to eat. Maybe they were chopsticks, but utensils are used for you to eat your food so that you're not using your hands. So even though they don't give us an actual definition of what utensil is, if they give you multiple choice answers and something like spoon is in there, or fork, or something that is used to pick up the food, then yes, you wouldn't choose a shovel, you wouldn't choose a hammer, because those are not things you use or used to eat with. So this is just a quick anchor chart, how to use context clues to figure out vocabulary words you may not know or may have forgotten. Now, looking at the story, these were very interesting words to look at. Now, when I was looking at all the words, I picked the 4 that I really thought would be useful in this case. Now, I want you to grab your books, your MyView books, the one with the back, okay? I want you to go straight to page 137. Go to this page really quick. We're going to be looking at some context clues that they use for us. 138. Go to page 137. Let me write it down for you because I already said a wrong number. Go to this page, 137 in your MyView back book. Now, in this case, when I first start off with the word ceremonies, okay, they use that word on page 137 once again, paragraph 2. Now, I know as a reader, when I go back and look, I highlight it where I found my information, where I found my vocabulary words. Now, in this case, go to paragraph 2, follow along with me. And I'm going to start at the beginning of the paragraph because, as we saw in our context clues, it may be where we need the sentence before or the sentence after to really help us understand the meaning. Now, so the men held ceremonies under the mugumu, the spreading sacred fig tree, and the skies blessed them with shimmering rains to slake their thirst and water their farms. Okay, so our word there was ceremonies. Now, in this case, if you did not know what ceremonies was, they actually describe what they are doing. Okay, now when we're looking at ceremonies, it's something that's usually done in the public, something that's in front of people. Usually when it's a ceremony, it has to do with some type of religion or a religious event as well. It may be where it could be something with nature, or it can be something like a baptism, a presentation, a wedding ceremony, something like that as well. But you have a formal religious public event. Now, I know the clues that help me figure it out is that so the men held ceremonies under the mugumu, the spreading fig tree. So everybody's underneath this tree. And the skies blessed them with shimmering rains to slake their thirst and water their farms. Village elders placed staffs from the tree between angry men, and enemies became friends. So this is something that's going on in front of everyone. There's emotions going on. There's, something that may have a feeling to it. What I like to do is always underline my context clues. So grab your little pencil, marker, something, circle the word ceremonies, highlight the sentence they use it in. And I know I highlighted the spreading sacred fig tree. If something's sacred, that means that something's important. If someone goes to a temple or a church, that's a sacred place. It's not that you go in there running, laughing, doing cartwheels. I even know that some people go into churches and they're even whispering. There's like a whole different form of respect when you're in a sacred place. Our next word we're looking at is tradition. Okay? This is our next word, tradition. And it may be something that you are familiar with because it may be you have your own traditions with your own families. Now, paragraph 3, right next to it, I'm going to circle the word listen. Not listen. Tradition. There we go. Wangari listened to these stories. That's how she came to love and respect trees. That's how she came to be wise in the tradition of her family and village, of her country and continent. So even when I was looking at this, I already had the word listen highlighted or circled because that was something that's important to a tradition. In her tradition, that's how they showed love and respect, by listening to stories. Now in Africa, they have a long history of oral history. They were not people to be known how to read, how to write. So what they do to preserve their history was they pass down stories from one generation to the next. That's how their history was known to be and stay alive today. Without them passing down their stories, those would be gone a long time ago. So I like that they gave us that example, that context clue of what their tradition was listening to the stories. Our next word is medicine. Now, in this case, when we're looking at our book, flip over all the way to 143. 143. And thank you for those of you that are following along with the books. I really appreciate that. Every time you follow along with your teacher reading or a friend reading, it helps you build your fluency. Now, on paragraph 19, we have the word medicine. And there's something going on in this story where you have these women showing up to Wangari with all these different problems that's going on in their village. And Wangari helps them with advice, with her wisdom. Paragraph 19. It's next to this picture right here with the woman coming and asking for help. Page 143. My cows are sick, said another, from the savannah. I have no money to buy medicine for them. So in that case, we have a clue. They gave us, my cows are sick. So what are you going to do to help out someone that is sick? Obviously give them that medical attention or that medicine. So I highlighted, I circled my vocabulary word. Let me get a little bit closer. And I circled my context clue. And it helps you understand what you are reading. And you don't know a vocabulary word, look for those clues. The last word we're looking at is offering. Turn it all the way to page 146. It's the last page of our story. Please go to 146. 146. Now, it's a beautiful picture of Wangari here, or Mama Miti from Wangari. Now, when you're looking at this, you have the word offerings. Offerings is one of those words that has multiple meanings. So let's see how they use it today. A green belt of peace started with one good woman offering something we can all do. Plant a tree. So I'm going to circle offering. And my keyword is something we can all do. And then what she did was plant a tree. So in that last thing, it says offering, something that we're willing to give, to sacrifice, something that belongs to you and has a special significance when you give to someone else or to something else. Now, when we're looking at offering, you're giving, you're presenting whatever you have to that other person. So as you can see, as when you're reading your textbook and you're looking at your story and you're rereading it again, because the activities that you have this week go with that story with Mama Miti from Mangari. Now, in this case, look at that vocabulary words. Try your best on those vocabulary activities. On Class Dojo, I will post this video. All I need you to do is swipe to the right and you're going to see a context clues activity. Please take a picture and send me that activity. It's an assignment. It isn't. It's for a grade. As soon as you can. If you can't do it today, tomorrow is fine. I am being flexible due to the distance learning and the coronavirus and everything like that. But practicing reading and writing every day is very important to continue that. Other than that, have an amazing day, a wonderful day. Bye.